Hello, I'm going to go over some of the features of File to Backup Pro and File to Backup Server. Some of the differences between File to Backup Home and these two other products. So basically, if you go down here next to your clock, we open up File to Backup. The first thing that's a little bit different is the sync portion. In the regular home version, you don't have this, you only have the protect. So what the sync allows you to do is basically sync your files between two computers and have a instant duplicate in both those computers, where just your normal backup sends your files offsite, which is great in case of crash, fire, theft. The sync actually lets you sync files between like your home and your work. So if you're working on a Word document at work, you save it, you could then go home and access it and save it from there. So if you open up Explorer here, you'll see we have a drive letter called L, and this might be different depending on how you install it. It could be letter A, X, Y, it doesn't really matter. Generally the default is L though. So we have a couple of files in here. Basically any files right here that are in File to Backup Sync also will show up at my other locations that I have this installed at. So if I have it installed at work, they'll see this file. If I want to add something to it, it's as simple as going to my documents, finding, say, a Word document called boat. We could copy it, and then we just right click and paste. And it's that simple. If I open up this boat file and then go in here and add a A and save it, close it, that is instantly going to be updated at my other location. And if we look here what File Sync's doing, you can see it seeing that it was modified or changed. It will update. It's already been sent up to the cloud and then synced to any other computers. It also does LAN transfer, so if you got 4 or 5 computers on a network, rather than having to sync those large files offsite, it will sync the files offsite and just through your network, internal network. So that's one difference between the Home and Pro. Let's go down here, and you can also open the sync in Explorer. Again, that's just a different way to access it. You can double click on my computer and open it, or you can view it through here. It's just the same drive letter. That's not there in the home version. We're going to manage backups. This is pretty much the same options: schedule backup, scan between certain times, real-time backup, file exceptions, and then adding more drives or more files or folders to our backup. The web portal does look a little bit different. It has some extra features that you don't see in the home version. So one of the differences here is sync. By default this is disabled in the home, but the Pro and Server editions have these. So again, we're seeing our files here. We could open them, and once we click open here, we can do a couple different things. We can share them. We can see when it was last modified. We could revert to a previous state. We could email this to a friend, or also make it view publicly so they can access the file without having to send it as an email attachment. Maybe it's too large to fit an email attachment. We could also just download it direct from internet in case you're at an offsite location where you don't have the software installed. That's a nice feature. We can look at screenshots here. Just gives you a little thumbnail, and you can do a little slideshow. There's a lot of neat features. Music player, things of that nature. Protect, this is the same. You have multiple computers, work and home, so you can view those and download and access files from there. Web sharing, this is where we would basically share files or see other files that people are sharing with you. Account settings, we'll just show you how much of your files are being used. Right now we only have 239 megabytes of our 512 gigs. available, what kind of account we have, and service status and such. So let's close that out. Let's go to settings. This looks a little bit different. Bandwidth, this is the same. I do recommend encrypting all files between file to backup in your PC. It'll eat up a little bit more bandwidth, but it's more secure. But here we can set the priority. This you can't do in the home version. You can set Word documents to be backed up first. You can move this up or down. Spreadsheets. If you have a lot of files you're syncing very quickly, multiple people accessing it, this is a good option to do. Set this. We can change the cache location. So this is where things are temporarily being downloaded before they go to the iDrive. Default would be C, but you can choose any other external ones too. Here you can choose if you want to store it just online or just online and on your local computer. It would be faster to store the files on the computer as well as store them online. And then we have LAN transfers. This is good if you have multiple computers, like a small office, on the same internal network. You can enable this. By default it's disabled, but you can enable this and it'll save your internet bandwidth because it's actually going to send the synced files between the local computers rather than sending it off-site and then back again. But it will still send the files off-site when syncing with the cloud. Now under services, we see here this is additional file to backup option here. We can uncheck that. On some systems, if you don't want the file to sync, then you could uncheck that. But if you have the Pro service or the server service, by default it is checked off. Then here again we can change the drive letter. It starts off as L by default, but we can change that. Online file preferences. We can open these in read-only format or only on the online only, and then it'll ask you what your preference is. Ask you every time, open the file in the web portal, or download the file to your computer. These are the same options as Home Edition, and this is also the same option. So that is about it. The differences between the Home and the Professional. If you haven't seen the Home version yet, I recommend you check out my video on the features of the Home version, because all the features in the Home version are also included in the Professional and Server Edition. Alright, thanks for taking a look.